The 2021 NBA draft cannot come soon enough. July 29th is only a few weeks away. Big boards are being filled out and people are saying, well, I think this guy should go behind Cade Cunningham. And you know what? There's a lot of players that are going to be picked in the following days that come after the draft, and a lot of undrafted free agents that are going to be signed to G League two-way contracts. But I wanted to give you 10 of the sleepers that you should be looking out for, 10 players that you might not have heard about or are highly underrated, and you should definitely be interested in seeing your team pick up. Now I have two honorable mentions here. Isaac Bonton of Washington State. Love the kid. I don't know if it's his hair or if it's his game or a bit of both, but whenever he's on the court, good things happen. That said, he still is undecided at this point if he's going to return to Washington State for the COVID opt-in, opt-out, whatever year, extra 1 year of play since they canceled the tournament, whatever. Or if he's going to go into the draft. I don't see him getting drafted high on any draft boards, if he's even in them at all. He's got pretty much an undrafted rank everywhere he goes, but I think he's a good quality backup point guard that could go on any team and give him some good minutes off the bench. The other one is Zaire Williams. I have him actually at 15th currently on my draft board, but I'm unfinished on scouting him, so that's why he's an honorable mention at this point. He's currently the guy that I'm looking into today. That said, I've seen him go as high as 10 and as low as 33, and I believe he belongs somewhere in the higher echelon of that, not in the 30s, not even in the 20s. I think he's a high-quality talent. His shooting was awful, but he struggled with injuries at the beginning of the year. He broke his leg on a bike accident. He struggled with the death of family members, and obviously that's going to have a big impact on your mental status when it comes to just playing a dumb game like basketball. And, of course, he's a freshman. He's on Stanford. There was nobody else really that good on that team. He didn't have much spacing, and hopefully I expect him only to be better. He did come in as the number 7 high school draft prospect. He's got the length. He's got the skills. I think he's going to go very high. So that said, my number 10 prospect is MJ Walker. Now he's projected to go undrafted and undrafted. I've seen him go as high as 53 in some pre mocks maybe months ago. For the most part, he's somewhere in the undrafted range. He's a 6'5", 210-pound senior out of Florida State. He's played alongside the likes of Scotty Barnes. And honestly, initially watching his tape, I didn't like him that much. Generally, when you see a kid coming in his fourth year, senior year, you'd be like, oh, he's going to play good. He's going to have a bag that he's going to put people in blenders. He's going to make great shots. He's going to make clutch shots. He's going to do good passes. And overall, he's just not very that good. All that being said, he's a good three-point shooter. He shot 42% his senior year, 80% free throw shooter, 43% field goal percentage overall. And he's a solid average defender. He's got decent foot speed. I have him rated as a C+. He's a little short at 6'5", though, but I think he can fill a sort of Bryn Forbes kind of role on a team. Come in off the bench, make some threes. He's got a lot of experience. He could defend just enough to cause a little havoc. You don't want him being stuck on somebody's best player, but if he's stuck in the corner and he gets switched on to, say, a quicker guard or a small forward, he's not going to be that much of a problem. Now, of course, he's a sleeper because nobody's going to have him on their draft board. Nobody's going to want to draft this kid. All that being said, he has enough talent to make some threes for your team. I think he should go a little higher, maybe a late second-round pick. If your team picks him up in the free agency pool after the draft has completed, I think you're going to pick up a nice young talent that's going to score some buckets for your team. Next up is Sam Hauser, a 6-foot guard forward out of Virginia. He's a senior, 23 years old, and before even making up with this video, I saw nothing but undrafted grades on him. Nobody wanted him. Nobody thinks this kid's good enough. They don't like his defense, blah, blah, blah. And then looking today, I saw some people get him as high as 52. A lot of drafts had him at the tail end of the second round. I still think that's a little low. I think he's a early to middle second round player. He is a professional scorer, a bucket getter. He shot 42% from the three-point line, 89% from the free throw line, 50% from the field overall. His defense isn't that bad, but he's a bucket getter. That's all he is, a professional scorer. He's got a quick release, a sweet three. He's able to put the ball on the floor and get to a spot and pull up from mid. Outside of that, he doesn't do much. He can't dribble well. He doesn't pass well. He doesn't drive well. And he doesn't have great foot speed, but he plays defense hard enough. He tries, and that's all you can ask for from one of these guys. He's kind of a Bogdanovich, one of the Bogdanoviches-esque kind of player. Kevin Huerter, a Duncan Robinson. He's got a great quick release, and when his shots go up, they go in. Professional scorer. I think he should be a little higher rated than 52. Definitely higher rated than undrafted. Sam Hauser is a great player that's going to be a great addition to any team that needs some offensive punch. Coming in at number 8 is Yves Pons. However you say this kid's damn name. He's a 6'6 center out of Tennessee. I have nothing but undrafted grades. A few people took him late in some of their mocks, but for the most part, he's somewhere 70 to 100 on most boards that I've seen. This kid is a stud. He's Montrezl Harrell, but he can shoot the three. He shot 27% from three. I guess that's better than nothing, not what you want to see. But he did shoot 79% from the free throw line, 50% from the field. He's supremely undersized, of course, at 6'6", 215, but he has hops. He's a block machine, a rim protector. He is a joy to watch. He's going to earn his living being a glue guy, firing up his team on effort plays. His offense is rough. He does have a three, but it's not great. He has a post game, but it's ugly, and his free throw is at best, but it goes in at a good clip. His floater is gross. It's basically a dunk or bust with Yves Pons, but he hunts offensive and defensive rebounds like no other. He's willing to box out and elevate over taller guys because he wants it more. He's a great defender for his size. Obviously, he's going to have the same issues that Trez does guarding 7-foot guys, but he plays great on-ball D, great post D, great help D, and will block anything that comes with a 10-foot radius of him. His hops are uncanny, and he has a good enough lateral quickness to guard smaller guards on switches. And I just love his mentality. When his teammate took a vicious blow from Florida, he was the first guy to step in and say, "What the fuck are you doing?" This kid is great. He's a joy to watch. He was a perfect teammate for Keon Johnson. He's going to be a perfect glue guy for any team that picks him up. He's not getting any draft consideration from my understanding. So if you take him in the late second round, that is great. I honestly have an early second round grade on him. Yves Pons out of Tennessee is the number 8 sleeper on my board. At number 7 is Eugene Omoruyi. I don't know how to say his damn name, but he's a 6'6 senior out of Oregon, played alongside Chris Duarte, and he is a big fella, a stud. He is incredibly reminding you of PJ Tucker, who's playing in the finals right now. He shot 37% from the three-point line, which was pretty good, 76% from the free throw line, which is good enough, and 47% from the field. Like I said, I get strong PJ Tucker vibes. Now, he is a little older than you'd like at 24. He has a league average 3 and will play a PJ Tucker-sized role for any team. He can guard 7-foot big men utilizing his strength and banging in the post. He can go out on the perimeter and guard your best wing player to some degree of success. Offensively, he doesn't offer much. He has a fine-looking shot form and can post up somewhat and make a clever pass here and there, but generally nothing comes of it. He's feisty on the offensive glass despite his height. He does lack a quick first step and relies on strength when he drives, which is generally should be avoided as it's a 50-50 chance he either makes a tough shot or turns it over embarrassingly. Defensively, though, he excels. He makes good rotations. He has good side-to-side quickness and active hands, and he fights hard in the post. He gets a little floppy when he's trying to draw charges that are going to be needed cleaned up at the next level, but he works hard and he contests shots despite his lack of verticality. He's not a great player. He's going to need to work his ass off to get anywhere on a rotation, but he definitely has a role with his strength and speed in the small ball era, like that of the starting power forward, small forward, center, whatever position you want to call PJ Tucker's role. Eugene Omoruyi is absolutely perfect for this spot. I have nothing but undrafted grades. I think he's seen somewhere in the mid to late 60s on draft boards. And honestly, I have him at number 31 at this point in time on my draft board. I love what he brings to a team. Obviously, you're not going to build a team around him, but as far as role players go, Eugene Omoruyi is going to fill that need. At number 6, another guy who's getting almost no draft consideration whatsoever. Trendon Watford is as high as 51, but for the most part, he's getting undrafted grades on most people's big boards. He is a 6'8" sophomore out of LSU and is a stud. He's Jeff Green 2.0, Dunkel Green, Robert Covington, that perfect 3-and-D type of guy. Now, he did only shoot 31% from the three-point line, 66% from the free throw line. Not what you want to see, but as far as I'm concerned, his shot form is good enough, and it's only going to get better as he practices, as he can focus on his NBA game, and he is a great defender to make up for that. Now, he loves to get dirty. He enjoys driving tough despite lacking a good finishing move, but he has a soft touch on his floater. He has a solid jump hook. His shot isn't great, but his form is good enough and looks improvable. He's very inaccurate with passes and will throw them away or throw them too strong at his teammates or not in the shooter's pocket. He plays good posty on bigger guys and despite not being very fast, is able to guard the perimeter with some success. His shooting isn't very likely to get elite, but he is going to be able to carve out a 3-and-D role guarding stretch 4s, small ball 5s, bigger 3s. Trendon Watford is that perfect 3-and-D guy that every team is looking for, every team wants. Now, he's going to have to improve his three-pointer. He's going to need to progress a little bit before he's going to be able to get onto a court, unlike some of the other players. That said, His defense is phenomenal. His attitude is phenomenal. I love seeing this kid play. And at number 5 is the freak himself, Jericho Sims, the senior out of Texas. Now, he made headlines doing the 44.5-inch vertical. He has freak athleticisms, but I have him even higher than most people. I see a lot of drafts are now putting him in the 40s, some in the 50s, some still have an undrafted grade on him. I think he's honestly on my board currently number 22. Now, he's a little undersized at 6'10", but he has a grown man's body. I love this kid's game. All he needs to do is learn not to do anything on offense, and he's going to be a starting center when he's drafted. He is jacked. His physique is unmatched in college ball, and he was bullying these skinny freshman and sophomore college kids that wanted no business with him. He has his freakish 44.5-inch vertical as evidenced by the combine, which is insane for a kid his size. He's a high energy, high effort player. He brings toughness to the paint, and he's going to challenge every shot and every post up and go after every rebound that comes his way. He can be bested by finesse and quickness, but he has some lateral quickness to him in case of switches. He has great post D, and offensively, he's a whole nother story. He has a terrible dribble, a bad shot, and only a few post moves. His best move is doing a jump hook from 3 feet away, punishing a smaller guard if they get switched onto him. But for the most part, you just don't want the ball in Sims' hands. He can't shoot free throws, and it looks unlikely that he's ever going to improve in form, offensively, whatever. But defensively, he is a stopper. He is a typical 5 that you want as a backup on your team. Imagine right now if the Suns had him instead of Frank Kaminsky or even Dario Saric to some extent. If they had a Jericho Sims on their team who's going to be available somewhere in the second round, even though I have a late first round grade on him, he is going to make a great addition to any team looking for a backup, looking to compete. And at number 4 is Trey Mann. Now, he is getting plenty of talk about being in the first round, and I have no problem with that. I've seen him go as high as 17 and as low as 30. Honestly, I think he should go a little bit higher. I have him at 14 on my big board. He's a sophomore out of Florida, 6'5", 6'4"-ish, 190 pounds, super skinny. But the step up that he took this year was absolutely phenomenal. He shot 27% his freshman year, is shooting 40% this year from 3 points. His free throw went up from 65 to 83%. His overall field goal went up from 35 to 46%. He improved in every single way, and once Keon Johnson went down, he had to carry the entire load of the Florida offense, and you know what? He was able to do it. He has pure swagger to his game. He's not very fast, he's not very big, he's not very long, but when the ball's in his hands, good things happen. After a horrendous freshman year, Trey Mann worked his ass off to get bigger and, more importantly, shoot at an elite percentage. He added a mean step-back jumper to his game and was making dribble pull-up shots that translate to the next level, and he even has a bit of a floater game. He still has issues getting his own shot on bigger defenders because of his lack of athleticism, and he still only has a small bag. He's no Kyrie Irving, and he is prone to the frequent bad pass. He still makes great reads and was one of the best initiators of offenses and played the pick and roll great. He can shoot from the logo and absolutely heats up from 3, but I did see some mental mistakes and clutch moments that are worrying, I want to say. Defensively, he wasn't a liability per se, but he was definitely a weak point. He's either too slow rotating or will make the wrong rotation or won't rotate at all. His lateral quickness was okay, but more often than not, he'd completely give up on drives or offer little to no resistance on aggressive players. He can rebound when he wants to, but naturally Trey is all about offense and is an absolute stud scoring and is my favorite of the short, unathletic scorers of the class. There's Trey Mann, there's Cam Thomas, there's Jaden Springer, there's Jared Butler, there's Josh Primo, and I think Trey Mann is head and shoulders above everybody else in the class. So while people are saying, oh, he's going to be available there in the 20s and 28 for 76 or something, no, I think this kid should go number 14 at the end of the lottery. He is a phenomenal talent. And my number 3 sleeper is Keon Johnson. Now, a lot of people have him mocked going somewhere in the 10 to 16 range. I've seen him go as high as 6, but he's fallen a lot more than I'd like in a lot of the mocks I've seen. He's the freshman out of Tennessee, 6'3", 6'4", 185 pounds, and he's the guy who set the record for hops in the NBA combine with, what was it, like 48 inches? Jesus fucking Christ. Keon Johnson is your natural athletic freak with no game. His offense lacks polish, but has potential with a clean-looking catch-and-shoot 3 despite the horrible percentage, and a high-elevation mid-range pull-up jumper that reminds you of Russell Westbrook. He lacks ball-handling skill, and his only move is drive hard or drive harder, but he does have a nice floater game to fall back on. His passing is rough, often missing an open man or hitting them inaccurately. He was also a turnover machine, averaging slightly more turnovers than assists, 2.6 to 2.5. He'd frequently mishandle the ball on the fast break, in the post, at the three, anywhere was a sloppy handle or a brainless travel. His freakish speed gave him a great first step, and he was an avid offensive rebounder. Usually putbacks were his best offense. He generally had no plan when he was driving and is going to need to develop his drive game, his pull-up game, his three-point game, everything. Defensively, though, he is a legend. He has freakish lateral quickness and was silky smooth, staying attached to his man on and off ball, fighting through screens or forcing a tough shot. He has active hands and the vertical to make an incredible weak side block and is also providing help D in specific situations. He would miss a cut here or there, as most freshmen tend to do, but he is freaky fast, has freaky hops, has freakish agility, and I think he's a little shorter. He was listed at 6'5" originally, but I believe the combine got him down to 6'3", 6'4". I give him the Russell Westbrook, Victor Oladipo comparison. He goes all out on loose balls. This kid is just an absolute athlete, an absolute animal. He is going to have to learn how to play basketball and shoot better. He shot 27% from the three-point line, 70% from the free throw line. That's just not good enough. But when you can jump this high, you just can't teach kids how to jump. You can teach somebody how to shoot a fadeaway jumper. You can teach someone how to shoot the three. You can't teach 48-inch vertical. You just can't. That's why I have him at number 6 on my big board. I think he should be in the next tier right after the big 5 go. Now, this is where we tend to get a little controversial. At number 2, my sleeper is Scotty Barnes, and you're probably saying, whoa, what's going on? Scotty Barnes is predicted number 5, 6, and 7 for most drafts. Well, true, whoever you are, but I think he should be going even a little higher. Now, I did see him fall as low as 10 in some crazy guy's mock draft, but I have him as the 3rd best prospect on my big board. Most people are comparing him to Draymond Green because he plays defense, handles the ball, and can't score. And I get it. I understand why you would say that if you look at the statistics purely. But if you watch his game, I see baby Giannis. I see Magic bleeping Johnson. He can't shoot to save his life, although he doesn't pass up free, wide open dunks like someone we know. His shot stroke is ugly, and his finishing skills are ugly, and he lacks touch in most spots on the court. But he is freakishly long with that 7'2" wingspan. He has a great dribble and is a really good passer. His court vision might not be A+, but I have him as one of the best passers in the class, routinely making Magic Johnson-esque passes and hitting shooters right in the pocket. He's a good decision maker with the ball, and while he's a little too tall to have a bag to really shake defenders, he has some dribbling skills that could eventually lead to him getting to a spot. His defensive skills lack strength, as do all freshmen, leading to him getting bullied occasionally during box outs or in the post, but he has enough lateral quickness, especially for his height, and his long arms and aggressive nature leads to frequent steals. He has incredible north to south speed, and he's going to need to mature to let the game slow down for him a bit in the pros and get out of control less frequently. But his talent and natural skill set is undeniable. He looks like a Harlem Globetrotter out there on the court with his freaky length and no-look passes, and his energy and passion while playing is infectious. Every time he was on the court, I'd see him cheer, I'd hear him scream, I'd hear him shout, I'd hear him pump up his teammates. He was pure energy to the Florida State Seminoles. I loved what he did. Now, of course, his shooting, horrible. 27% from the three, 62% from the free throw line. Absolutely abysmal in today's NBA. But man, watching this kid reminds you of Magic Johnson, and having him go as low as 10th, I think is abhorrent. I think is awful. I have him at number 3 on my big board, and damn sure some days I could be coerced that he could go even higher. Which leads us to the number 1 sleeper of this draft, and you go, well, we already have Scotty Barnes at number 3. Who else is going to go higher? Cade Cunningham 1, Jalen Green 2, Evan Mobley maybe? No. I have this tier gap. So I think Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green are in a tier alone. I think below them is Scotty Barnes, Evan Mobley, and I have a tier below that for Jalen Suggs, Keon Johnson, Kuminga, Bonite, Moody, Davion Mitchell, etc. But if I were the Pistons, I would really think about Jalen Green at the number 1 overall pick. Now I know Cade Cunningham right now is a better prospect. He has a much higher floor, a much lower bust potential. I think he's going to be a great player in the next level. But he lacks the elite athleticism that you want to see from your number 1 overall picks. He lacks hops. He lacks speed. He's going to have trouble getting his own shot. Now he's going to be more of a facilitator. He's going to be more of a LeBron role, but LeBron in the beginning of his career was a freak. Defensive player of the year, rim runner, high-flying dunking machine. Cade Cunningham is never going to be that. This is the peak of his physical potential. He's going to be okay, he's going to be good, really good, but he's not going to be that next level, that next tier Zion Williams, Ben Simmons, Anthony Edwards, the type of players that just don't really blow you away. He's not Luka Doncic slow, don't get me wrong. He's not Nikola Jokic when he plays, but he's a mediocre athlete at best. Think Malcolm Brogdon or current day Paul George. He's such a good overall player, but it doesn't feel like anything he does is exceptional. His shooting is good. His defense is good enough. His playmaking is really good, but at times he can make a bad pass or has poor accuracy on it. He'll just throw it away. His dribble, he can get careless and gets bullied by quicker guards with fast hands, and it just has me worried when he can't fall back on freak athleticism that most NBA number 1 overall picks can, which Jalen Green has. Jalen Green shoots the 3 pretty well, 36% to Cade Cunningham's 40. His free throws are about the same, 83 to 85, and Jalen Green has hops. Jalen Green has speed. Jalen Green can run around. He's crazy. He has a crazy vertical. He's crazy fast. With the ball in his hands, he has a few tricks up his sleeve to getting to his spot and has a nice first step. He doesn't have much slashing complexity. That's going to come later on. His move right now is to drive hard right, probe the defense, and make an out-of-control layup, or just pass it off and go sit in the corner. But he has a mean step back when he's feeling it. His mid-range game is a legit high-elevation jump shot, and his ability to elevate makes it viable and tough to contest. I love his free throw confidence. Whenever he goes up to the line, he just steps up, takes one dribble, shoots it, and makes it. It's Steph Curry-esque. He'll make the occasional great playmaking play or a nice pass, but it's not really consistent. He's more of a shooting guard, of course, to Cade Cunningham's point guard, point forward nature. But man, he is a freak athlete. He's a great scorer, and I think you should be really thinking about this kid number 1 overall. Now, Pistons specifically, they have Killian Hayes. Do you believe in him? Don't you believe in him? That is the question. Now, I saw that his rookie campaign wasn't great. He's more of a Cole Anthony tier player than a LaMelo Ball tier player from the rookie year that we've seen so far. But how quickly do you want to go and decommit to somebody you drafted number 7 overall? If you're thinking that Killian Hayes has any potential to be a competent point guard at the next level, Jalen Green might be the pick number 1 overall. He's a freak. He is a great player. Now, personally, of course, like I said, I got Cade Cunningham 1, I got Jalen Green 2, but they're in a tier by themselves, and they're not that far. The separation between 1 and 2 is not that far. It's not that exceptional as it was when, say, Zion went to Ja Morant, went to Cam Reddish or whoever was the number 3 overall pick. It's not one tier, then the next tier below, then the next tier below that. These guys are close. And if you flip-flop one for the other, I'm not going to disagree with you in any way. Anyways, those are my 10 sleepers for the 2021 NBA draft. Let me know what you think, what you agree with, what you disagree with, and I'll catch you in the next one.